Welcome back, everyone. I'm the Depressed Eeyore. This is Kingdom Death Monster. Let's get this settlement phase taken care of. I've already gotten the Endeavors. We got 5, 4 because we have 4 returning survivors, and one of them is a Tinker, so that brings it up to 5. Next is we need to update the timeline, which will bring us the Nemesis encounter. So we'll go ahead and read up on that. So story events, showdown. Checking a few things. Yeah, I think it just goes straight to the butcher. So here's our image of the butcher. It's going to be pretty brutal. Alright. There once was a man who could not hide his fear. He wore a mask that transformed his cowardice to rage. In turn, the man transformed into a monster. All that remained was a devouring fury that stalked the night, collecting the fearful faces of others. And as far as the butcher itself is concerned, I believe he is down. Is that butcher? No, it's Kingsman. There's butcher. So he has Berserker, fast to target, infectious lunacy, dreaded trophies, and he has 7 basic, 5 advanced, and his toughness is 9 and movement 5. Berserker allows him to draw 2 AI cards per round instead of just 1, so essentially he acts twice per round. Fast target means he reshuffles his hit location deck at the start of every turn. Dreaded trophies is he gets stronger as he kills people. So every time he kills someone, he gets a buff. And then infectious lunacy is I don't remember that one. AI card special infectious lunacy. When you suffer brain damage, you gain lunacy tokens, and then once you get too many of them, you will get the frenzy brain trauma, which essentially as the butcher is fighting, he's making everyone just go crazy. And it can be both good and bad as you get frenzied a bunch. But it only does it if he does brain damage, which he has ways of doing it. It depends on what sort of stuff he draws. And then the setup is stone columns in set locations, and we only get 1 random terrain. So it's pretty... We're not going to have much to play around with. Best case scenario is you start with tall grass, and you just take advantage of it. Also, you start at the bottom of the screen. Also, the Nemesis encounter, this is one of the few situations where you can... you actually go first. And as you can see here, Nemesis encounter, departing survivors do not have a hunt phase. Instead, select the butcher's monster level. It should be 1 greater than the last butcher encounter, and set up the showdown accordingly. So, we'll be fighting a level 1 butcher instead of doing the usual hunt phases. I'll have that as a separate video, of course. Just want to show that off. So, besides that, there's no real events. Well, there's our settlement event, of course. So, let's go ahead and shuffle the deck here. Put these away. Heatwave. It is impossibly hot. Any returning survivors with heavy or fur gear have heat stroke and may not depart this lantern gear. I don't think anyone has heavy or fur. Rawhide, 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 rawhide. Nope, no one has, and counterweight axe is not heavy. So, yeah, we're good. So nothing bad happens there. Lingering effects. The heat wave prevents science and education endeavors. So if you have like any innovations that use science or education, and they have endeavors attached to them, you won't be able to do them. Also, if you depart with heavy gear in your grid, you set your survival to 0 after applying all bonuses. So heat wave can be pretty nasty. If we had some white lion gear, which is usually heavy, this would be really kind of devastating. So there's a few things. We can do. We also have some endeavors that are active right now. There's Find Fluid, roll 1d10, and you can depart normally. If you roll high enough, you can depart normally. If you roll even higher, you can make it so everyone can endeavor normally. And then there's Breathe Fumes, which is scrape. You can either get +1 understanding but pass out and miss and skip the next hunt. And then there's gain a random disorder and then get intimacy. And then there's the Horizon Expanse and you get the extra sense fighting art. So the extra sense fighting art allows you to dodge an additional time per round, which is amazing. So that's definitely something worth trying out. There's no risk of losing any resources from using Breathe Fumes. So I might do some Breathe Fumes, and if I'm not too worried about random disorders, so we'll see what we can do. Anyway, give me 1 moment. Alright, so I checked a few things. I also had to take care of some stuff, but I'm back. Alright, so more than likely we're gonna be triggering our the 5 innovation milestone. Essentially, anytime you hit, if it's the settlement phase and you hit a milestone, you trigger it immediately. The step where it says, check your check for milestones is usually just there as a reminder. The only time that you have to worry about the milestone in this case is the is updating the death count for the death principle, and if you happen to get 5 innovations outside the settlement phase. So that's pretty much what it's there for. Okay, so with that being said, let's get started. We're going to go ahead and spend our first endeavor. Also, I need to remember I have a scrap and a bone available down here. So first things first, we're going to go ahead and take a... Let's see. Where's settlement location? Scatarium. Do I need claws for anything else? No. Well, only if I want to make a spear, which I don't. So with that being said, I'll go ahead and get rid of one of the claws, get rid of the monster organ, get rid of a hide, and we'll innovate. Alright, let's go ahead and shuffle the innovation deck. We have 10 cards in it. 1, 2. So we've got Shrine and Symposium. So, could get Shrine. Symposium is, you get +1 survival limit, which is always good, and then anytime you innovate, you draw 4 cards instead of just 2. It's essentially an education innovation. And Symposium will lead us to Nightmare Training, which is pretty useful. It's a way of kind of spending your spare survival and stuff to boost up your stats and things like that. And then the other one's Storytelling, which personally I don't like usually, but it is what it is. So Shrine would be nice, getting that extra armor. I think I might go ahead and take Shrine. I don't really care much for Sacrifice, but that armor ritual is going to probably be important. So we'll search. I believe there's only one Shrine consequence. I think it's just Sacrifice. And there it goes. So we're still at 10. So yeah, we'll get Shrine. And just to make sure, Shrine consequences, yep, just Sacrifice. Sacrifice we're probably never going to take. I think it might be useful for one event, and that's it. If that. In any case, here's Shrine. I'm going to go ahead and just do this on screen. Sakura. Okay. Alright, next this is going to trigger the Twilight Knight. So if we go to story events, go to Twilight Knight, this will where is he at? Oh, sorry, Hooded Knight, that's what it's called. Image. We got this going for us. Alright, and then Hooded Knight. A stranger emerges from the darkness. If any survivors has the Twilight Sword, they duel the knight. Otherwise, his motives are inscrutable. Roll below on Mysterious Agenda. So, I'm going to go ahead and pull it up just in case it's changed. I don't think it has. but you never know. So, Hooded Knight. Yeah, and they duel. Seems to be mostly the same. Alright, so let's go ahead and roll 1d10. 2. Hey, as quickly as he arrived, the Hooded Knight vanishes in a flash of steel and blood. Suffered -2 population. The Hooded Knight leaves with unfinished business and will return later. I'm going to go ahead and use a reroll. We'll use... I want to use one of the unnamed rerolls. Yeah, there's not an easy way to do this. Copy. There we go. We'll do it on the one that has 4 survival. Okay. Alright, so the unnamed survivor that doesn't have 4 survival is going to use his, the one that has the 4 survival will use the reroll. That should take care of that. Save. So we'll roll 1d10 again and see if we do better. We have to take the result. 3. Well, that is better. The Hooded Knight insists on training the uncouth survivors in martial combat. Up to 2 survivors may spend 3 resources each to learn the Mighty Strike fighting art. The Hooded Knight leaves with unfinished business and will return later. Mighty Strike is pretty decent, but I can't afford the resources right now. So, we can just pull it up on this. Search. Where is it? Mighty Strike. So anytime you get a perfect hit, gain +2 strength until the end of the attack. So, it's pretty useful because it's just it gives a benefit for perfect hits, but we don't have the resources to spare right now. We just don't. So I'm probably just going to leave it alone. He's going to return with unfinished business. He has unfinished business and will return later. So he'll come back 4 years later. So on the timeline, we're on year 4. Edit. Year 8 is when the Hooded Knight will come back. There you go. So that's been updated. Alright, all that's been taken care of. We now have Shrine. We didn't get murdered, so that's good. That's a positive. Gotta look on the bright side. Alright, we have 3 hide, 3 bone. One of them is in the storage. We have the love juice, and then we have a the random. I'm gonna go ahead and just use the love juice. It's almost always good to do. So it's gonna do intimacy again. And we'll have the survivor with the unnamed survivor that still has a reroll, and I do the intimacy roll. So roll 2d10, 8 and 10. Okay, can't complain there. That's we've been doing really well on those rolls. Because the odds are against us. Like it's, I think like 47% that actually gives us a good result. So yeah, good stuff. Story events, intimacy. I'm just gonna make sure what it gives us. Okay, so same situation, maxed out survival, all the good stuff. All right, so we'll go ahead and edit this then, because now he has +4. He has 4 survival as well. Alright, and we do get +1 population. Of course, it's going to be a female. This will also trigger our 15 population event. So we'll get that going. But first, who do we have left on the list? We have 4 characters left on Mountain of Faith. 1. Hina. So we get Hina. Alright, save changes. 19. All right, save changes. All right, so this will be kind of our last little principle that we can do for a little while. Society. We got that going on. All right. And then Principal Society. There was once a mad woman who spent her days talking to the darkness. One day, it spoke back. So, just turning to the page just in case. Same thing. So we get to either choose collective toil or accept the darkness. So essentially, we're deciding what sort of society are we, whether or not we're just going to be, whether we're just going to keep our humanity or just embrace the craziness that is this world. The big issue with collective toil, so what collective toil does, by the way, is it makes it so you get an additional endeavor for every 10 population you have every phase, which is really good. The bad part is you get the Bone Witch, which has been nerfed, I think, but it's still not a thing you want to promote, usually. So I'm going to look up Bone Witch real quick and make sure it's not as murderous. All game 3 insane. Okay, so they nerfed it. Originally, the Bone Witch was an event where all non-death returning survivors will gain 3 insanity, which will automatically make everyone insane. And then it'll be like everyone that's insane has to go and visit the Bone Witch, which has some good things, but the bad things are really bad, and it makes her come back. This time they've changed it so Bone Witch only forces the highest insanity to go and do it, and you can also have more people do it if you feel like it. I think I kind of want to do collective toil, but I'll talk about the other one first. The other one as well. The other one doesn't add anything. You just get accept the darkness. So let's take a look. So here's the principles. Accept the darkness. The other thing that's just really good about accept the darkness is the settlement no longer fears the darkness. Letting go means your resolve cannot be cracked. Add +2 to all brain trauma rolls. What this does is it ensures that you can never die from brain trauma. Ever. Because I believe 1 in 2 is dying from like a heart attack or whatever, or an aneurysm. So with this, you literally will never have to worry about dying from brain damage. Now, you'll still suffer disorders and all sorts of other nasty things, but as far as the death is concerned, that's off the table. It can also affect certain events. This one tends to influence a lot of things, especially things like the murder event and so forth. I think I kind of want to do collective toil. That'll get us more endeavors, which will get us more potential to do things with them. So I think I'm going to go towards that and hope I can get the population. The worst case scenario is we do collective toil and our population just drops and we can't keep it up, which is a danger because we are doing survival of the fittest. But I think I'm going to do collective toil. I mean, as insane as Yuka is, I think she'd rather stay classy. So we're going to do collective toil. Fortunately, we don't get the benefits this round, but it'll be useful in the future. And even if we have a party wipe against the Butcher, we'll still have 10 population to play around with. In fact, if we have a party wipe, and this will ensure that we have 9 endeavors at the start of the next phase. So we'll have that going for us, I guess. All right. So I believe it's at the start of the settlement phase. So yeah, right now that's not going to do anything. All right. And then let's go ahead and pull up the story event again. So it's going to do a few things, but let's one step at a time here. It's going to, okay. I will say that it did change. It does change the 1.5 does change this. So what you're seeing there is for the table, the 1d10 table. It's not correct, or it's out of date. I'll say that much. All right. Now, one thing to note is we will get -1 population. Tainted by darkness, a survivor nearly brought ruin to the settlement. On the day of her exile, the people decided that all must spend equal time hunting, working to avoid future disasters. -1 population, add Bone Witch. I think... Who do I want to send away? Let's send away Hina. She would fit what we're doing here. So I'm gonna get a different picture for her. So we'll make a note of that. So Hina's gonna quote unquote die, even though she's technically not dying. Also, I don't think we get the. Do we still get the bonus? When a survivor dies during the hunt or showdown, or dies when the. There's always these weird edge cases. 1 second. Alright. So technically, even though she's alive and just being exiled, unless it says specifically to not do death effects, we will get the benefit for Graves. So that does give us 1 additional endeavor. So that brings us up to back to 5 for this round. Because we spent 1 on the innovation already. And technically, even if you had the cannibalism one, I guess you can essentially say, even though she's been exiled, you would just take her stuff, and that would be kind of what you cannibalize instead. And in the case of the grave, it's just an empty grave that just represents someone that's no longer with you. Alright. Anyway, so we're going to, of course, need to update our population, because we're back down to 4. Didn't take long. But that's okay. And that's why I also named them ahead of time. It's just like, oh, well, I could have just picked one of the unnamed people, but we got to make this actually mean something. Let's make that a question mark. Dead survivors. And I'll switch that later. All right then, got that going. And then we need to add the Bone Witch to the timeline 3 years from now. So we're going to get the Bone Witch on year 7, which is going to be the same year as the Phoenix Feather. For the most part, the consensus is Embrace the Darkness is always better. And to be honest, that's what I usually pick. What the hell? Why is this jacking up? Bold? Bold. Okay, this thing is just... Whatever, save changes. For some reason, it's not, it didn't want to bold. Oh, it's because I was doing the GM notes. Bold, there we go. Alright, so we get the Bone Witch. But yeah, most people take the Accept Darkness. It is just better because it prevents you from dying from brain traumas, like I mentioned before. It also makes the murder event less painful, to be honest, even though it's still painful. Anyway, like I mentioned before, the 1d10 is different on 1.5, so I'll just have to read it aloud. Alright, so roll 1d10. 8. 3 unknown survivors with ink-stained eyes drag a monstrous corpse into the settlement. Upon seeing the united settlement, they offer the corpse as tribute and plead for their lives. Gain +3 population, 2 random White Lion resources, and 1 skull resource. So that is a lot better than the old version. Let's actually look at the old version again. Sorry if it's slowing things down, but I'm definitely interested. This is what it used to be. Yeah, essentially, instead, if you got a high roll, you would just get a survivor that has Secretive, Disorder, and Timeless High fighting art. The Accept the Darkness has not been changed, by the way. Accept the Darkness table hasn't changed. Also, the 1 through 5 table, as you can see, originally it was 4 survivors get 5 survival. What it does now on 1.5 is all survivors get max survival. Also, as you can see, it's 1 through 5, 6 through 10 for both of these. On 1.5, the Collective Toil, it's 1 through 3, then 4 through 10. So there's a lot higher chance that you get the better result. So yeah, awesome. We get 3 population. So we're back up to we're up to 17 now. So we'll add a bunch of new female characters, which I think will fill out the rest of what we have left. So 3 female. So this will bring us up to 17 population. And technically they get all the benefits of the new characters. So good stuff there. We're going to end up getting Momiji, Sune, and Kaneko. I'll finish off the rest of them. Kaneko. And who's the other one? Sune. Alright, cool. So we got all those. And then we also get 2 random white line resources and a skull resource. So let's go ahead and take care of those now. Shuffle, shuffle, shuffle. And all the spent resources always go back into their decks, so there's possible we get some of the same stuff again. And then inside the basic resources, we need to grab the skull, which is awesome. I actually need a skull, so we can make a skull helm. Whenever you get a skull, a survivor of your choice will get +1 insanity, so we'll take care of that in a second. We got the Eye of the Cat, awesome, and we got some great cat bones. Alright, so Eye of the Cat, that's an organ, it's technically consumable. A perfectly preserved eye. Alright. Oh boy. So yeah, we just did a bunch of events. We got Collective Toil now. Really good shape. I do want to give someone +1 insanity. I don't know who, but I'll give somebody +1 insanity. We'll give you +1 insanity. Here you go, Nettery. Have +1 insanity. There you go. Problem solved. Okay. Sorry for the wackiness that is this this particular settlement phase. Okay. That should be it. We just took care of our intimacy because of the love juice. We've done our innovation already. We're back up to 5 endeavors because we banished somebody. We banished literally the person that just got added to the to the settlement. But Hina is now a bone witch, which probably fits her better. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and let's talk about the cat's eye, because that is something we wanted. So with the cat eye, we can make a cat eye circlet. And I showed that off, I think, last time. It allows you to look at the 3 monster hit locations and put them back in any order. So you can check to see if there's a trap and push it down the deck a little bit. Very useful, especially since you can do this as many times as you have action. So you can use surges to kind of do this. Would be pretty good. So we'll probably get that going. I'm also a bit interested in getting some of this White Lion stuff. The problem is I believe all of it's heavy. Yeah, all of it's heavy, and we still have the heat wave to deal with. Alright. So let's first do... I'm going to go ahead and spend an endeavor to go ahead and do the shrine. And see what we get. So 1d10. Alright, perfect 10. So we get departing survivors will get 1 armor to all hit locations. So we got that going for us. We're going to go ahead and make the cat eye circlet. So this will go back to the deck. I'm almost going to go and make a skull helmet. Get that out of the way as well. So let's do that first, and we'll see where we're at after that. Okay, skull helmet. This will more than likely go to whoever has the axe, I think. And then the cat eye. Cat eye circlet. Okay. And that will go to anyone that's going to be doing utility work. Okay. Alright. So whoever's using the counterweight axe will have the skull helmet, so now that will at least connect and be useful. And yeah, we got some stuff going on here. We have things happening. I'm just kind of seeing what other things I could do right now. Yeah, I don't exactly want to do a cat eye circlet there, do I? Yeah, I don't want to. Alright, that's fine. Alright, with all that said and done, what do we have left? We have a bone and scrap in storage. We have 3 bone, a wild card, and 3 furs and 3 hides. Let's go ahead and do some more endeavors, I think. Let's do, I want to do breathe fumes. Yeah, there's so many choices. Alright, so we have 2 white furs. What can I do with 2 white furs? I could do the white lion gauntlets. Yeah, the problem with the white lion set is it just costs so much. It costs so much to make. I might just build the leatherworker and just go into that instead. For the leatherworker, we would need 3 hide and an organ. So that would essentially use up all of this, and that'll leave us with some bones. And there's not much I can do with the bones at this point. I mean, I can make a club or something, but that's about it. And it's a good idea to kind of spend all resources, because if you fail this, you're going to lose all your resources as part of the penalty for failing to beat the butcher. And I don't think I could do anything else with the weapon crafter. I can make a Zonbot. I can make a Zonbot though. It's brittle though, so it wouldn't be really useful against him. Skullcap hammer. I can't remember what the skullcap hammer does. On a perfect hit, the monster is dazed and gains a -1 speed token until end of its turn. A monster can be dazed once per round. It's not bad. It's a club and it's bone. Yeah, you know what? Let's do those. So we have a scrap available here. So we'll do the scrap here and 2 bone. We'll do the great cat bone here. Take care of that. And then take care of this one. Shuffle it. And that'll get us the skullcap hammer. And -1 speed is not bad. And it's on perfect hits. It's a temporary debuff. It's only 1 round, but that's still better than that. Something that gets multiple actions, that's actually not bad. So I've never used the skullcap hammer. So, and I know if we build up proficiency with clubs, you can actually get some. You can actually dual wield those, which would be actually pretty neat. That could be something we go for. I usually try to get heat as soon as possible, and then just go straight for scrap swords, which are really good. But this is not too bad either. And then I can take the lion claw and the great cat bones and make that into a spear. I mean, I don't plan on using it because it's heavy, but it's something at least. It'll at least we'll have a spear available. It's just not useful though. That's the problem. I might just hold on to those 2 bones and hope I don't lose them. I think that's going to be the catch. So that vermin counts as a hide, and then I'll use the wild card as an organ, and we'll spend an endeavor to get the leather worker up and running, because leather is really good to get, and it gets us access to shields, and the leather set is essentially 4 armor in all locations if you can fill it out. So we'll spend another endeavor. So we should have went down 1 endeavor because of the shrine, and now we're going to go down another because we're crafting. We're going to set up a new location. Leather worker. Okay. We won't be able to do anything with Leatherworker this round, because you have to have, essentially you're going to have to spend an endeavor to get the leather to do its thing. Well, you turn hide into leather, essentially. It also gets us access to the Hunter Whip, which is pretty good, because it's one of the few ways you can get rid of moods, I think. Alright, so that brings us down to 3 endeavors. We have 2 bone left, which we'll just probably hold on to. And I think I'm going to go ahead and do Breathe Fumes now. I was thinking about doing Fine Fluid and sending someone out with heavy armor, but I don't think it's worth it at this point. That's the issue I have with the White Lion set, is it's so expensive. It's like the leather set actually takes less materials to make. You just have to have ammonia as the catch, which if you don't have ammonia by a certain point, you're probably screwed anyway. So what I'm going to do is I need to pick a survivor, and we're going to do these Breathe Fumes, like I mentioned. Also, I'm just making sure I couldn't do science or education endeavors. Shrine is, I think I deleted it already, but Shrine is a faith, I believe. So we were able to use it. Shrine. Yep, faith. So good to go on that. So who do I want to do stuff with? Let's do. Is anyone close to? Yeah, I'm gonna pick Hatate, and I'm gonna roll 1d10. 9. Horizons Expand, gain the extra sense fighting art. So she gets the extra sense, which we already looked up. So now she can dodge twice per turn. She also has tough. Definitely gonna be a beast. All right, and then I don't want to pick her a second time, so I'll pick somebody else. Anyone close to another understanding? Survivors. Let's take a look. Anzan. Okay. Anzan and Kamachi are actually close to their understanding limit, so, or getting their next understanding trigger. So I'm going to go with Kamachi first. I have 2 endeavors left. I'll use one more to breathe some fumes. 1d10. 4. Passes out, skips next hunt, +1 understanding. So she's going to skip next hunt, but she gets Tinker, and I'm going to go ahead and roll 1d10 for her insight, which is going to be 7. +1 endeavor, the settlement phase. So we now have another endeavor back. Alright, she misses next hunt though. I'm going to go ahead and pick Anzan next, and have him do his Breathe Fumes. Same thing. So he becomes a Tinker as well. And we'll roll 1d10 for him. Same situation, I think. Yep, 5 is another. So essentially I spent an endeavor and got 1 back. Alright, I wasn't expecting it to go that well. What about you, Aya? Okay, Aya, you're next. Breathe some fumes. Okay, she gets the extra sense fighting art. Alright. And I need to make sure I note that Anzan skips next hunt. There we go. Anyone else? Nope, that's pretty much everyone. Anyone else hasn't really departed yet. I mean, I could try doing it again with Hatate, but I don't exactly want to. Yeah, we'll go with Lily Black. Let's see what she gets. So this will be my last endeavor. Six. I think that's intimacy, actually. Random disorder and intimacy. So let's go ahead and roll for the random disorder. Oh boy. Oh, that was weak spot. I just saw it. So if she gets weak spot, I'll need to roll a hit location for her. Waste. That's actually not, that doesn't really do anything to her. So she has weak spot, waste, which literally you start with armor for the waste, so it's inconsequential. So, yep, good stuff. All right. And then we get intimacy again. It's going to be Aya and a nameless. Aya and the nameless that still has a reroll. So roll 2d10. 10 and 3. 3 is a failure. I'm going to go ahead and use that last reroll from the unnamed. So let's go ahead and do that now. So yeah, at this point everyone has the same stuff. All right, and I think I have to reroll all dice, but I'll check real quick. What's the principle say? Survival of the fittest. Reroll a single roll result. Give me a second. Okay, it's confirmed. I only have to reroll one die, so I'll reroll the 3 and see what we get. 5. All right, so we still get +1 population. We used a reroll, but that's what they're there for. All right. So our population is going to go up. I'm just going to go ahead and I'll deal with the background stuff later, but not too shabby. That's the first time I've ever taken full advantage of the fume stuff. That was actually really good. Granted, some of the people that got extra sense probably won't be. Well, the people that got the tinker, unfortunately, I won't be able to take along. But that's okay. Let's go ahead and I need to roll 1d30, I believe it is, because I've filled out the entire table. Okay, so I did the numbering as I counted them, and got Urban Legend and Limbo, which only has one new character, which is Asami. So we'll be adding Asami to the list. All right, good stuff. So population's looking pretty good. At this point, I would need to set up survivors and depart them for the butcher fight, which I'm going to have to set aside for a different day because I've recorded enough for today. So, I am the Depressed Dior. This was Kingdom Death Monsters, Sunflower Field. Sorry if this the settlement phase was a little mixed up. There was a lot of events that we triggered, and all of it was pretty good. So, see you guys next time.